One of the odd things about prayer and Christian life is it seems to go backwards. After 40 years of it, I find that I seem to know far less about prayer than I did when I started and thought I knew everything. Prayer is not a matter of learning a foreign language. You know, if you're learning French, you learn a few phrases, you learn some grammar, you start speaking it, you speak it badly. With better luck, you speak it better, and in the end you become fluent, and everyone says, wow, you speak French so beautifully. In prayer, you tend to start talking quite a lot, and then you find that actually it's more about listening. It's more about letting God take over. So prayer isn't something that I drive myself. I'm not in the driving seat. Ideally, prayer is letting God do it, and I'm listening and responding to that. And if God wants me to sit there and be quiet, well, that's fine. I'm coming to a point when I think that the most important thing I can do when I've finished my prayer in the morning is to remember to listen to my brethren during the day, because we're not good at listening. We hear words, but we don't listen deeply. And that skill of listening to your brethren opens your mind to listening to what God is wanting to say.
One of the things that we do find when we try to keep silence is how much internal noise we actually have. And for a lot of people, that is the end of the experience, is that we think that we want to keep silence, and yet we're so buffeted by distractions, difficult, obsessive thoughts, that we immediately think this isn't how it's supposed to be, and give it up. But one of the things that the monastic tradition teaches us is to attend to those thoughts, to learn something of their nature in order that we might understand how they drive so much of our life beyond our prayer. But there's also a recognition that those thoughts will always be present, that they're almost like the weather of the soul, of the mind. So it's possible for us to recognize them, acknowledge them, accept them, and yet still allow them not to dominate us. And that really is the goal of that part of our prayer, in order that we may still have functioning minds, still have thoughts, still have lives outside of prayer, but be able to turn our attention to God in our prayer. One of the ways of understanding what prayer is simply letting that desire for God come to the surface of our hearts and minds, letting it express itself in us. What I would advise people is to make a certain amount of time in your day for prayer, however it feels, however inadequate you might think your praying is, and stick to it, because it is through that faithfulness, through sticking to that practice, that the real deep fruits of a life of prayer come.